Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a special greeting to you, Dr. Knight. My name is Esethu Bacela. Today, I'll be talking about the marine fish stock tragedy of the commons, the problems, the policies, and the solutions. Firstly, I'll talk about global trends. When the consumption continues to be unchecked, this leads to a threat to global food and water security, economic well-being, and environmental health. This then leads to an increase in food prices and global economic crisis. Hundreds of millions of people worldwide are now faced with increased uncertainty and food shortages. Fisheries and aquaculture have traditionally been regarded as a solution to this global dilemma. A lot of people are getting high quality protein from these sectors while they also create jobs to millions of people. Secondly, I'll speak about South Africa's two fishing sectors. It is estimated in some studies that over 85,000 people participate in South Africa's shore-based recreational fisheries with a total economic impact of 25 billion rand. South Africa has two main fishing sectors, the aquaculture and the wild culture. Let's talk about aquaculture. Aquaculture is new in South Africa and it is still an underdeveloped sector. It mainly focuses on the high-value species such as the abalone, the mussels, and the oysters. The South African government believes that there is still room for expansion in the aquaculture sector. Without any doubt, the aquaculture will experience a substantial regional growth in the years to come. The second fishing sector in South Africa is wild capture. The wild capture fisheries include all the commercial, recreational, and subsistence fisheries, and each of them have their own specific research and management mandates. The commercial fishing sectors can be divided into highly specialized fisheries, which generally operate offshore and near-shore fisheries. The management and exploitation of fisheries in South Africa are governed by an overarching policies known as the Marine Living Resource Act. Here are a few commercial fisheries in South Africa: squid, West Coast rock lobster inshore, and West Coast rock lobster offshore. Why are South African inshore marine resources being exploited? They are being exploited because of the high accessibility of the resources to a wide range of marine user groups, such as the traditional line fishers and the recreational line fishers. And the illegal harvesting or poaching of resources is also a major problem because this targets the same inshore resources. The marine ecosystem of the Southern African region. The Southern African region straddles three great oceans: the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, and the Southern Oceans. This region has a total of 8 coastal states. The living marine resources of the region's water include the migrating fish stocks that are shared between 2 or more countries. Southern Africa is a home to a diverse fishing community comprised of small-scale and industrial-scale fisheries that targets a diverse array of species for local and international consumption. Fishing pressures are driven by the increased demand due to local population increases, high consumer rates, emergent export markets, and tourism. Management of ecosystems in Southern Africa. Within the Southern African region, there are several organizations and bodies that manage and regulate the ecosystems of Southern Africa. Just to name a few of these organizations and bodies. The first one is the Regional Fishery Management Organization. The second one is the Large Marine Ecosystem. And the third one is the Southern African region, which is defined by 2 large marine ecosystems: the Benguela Current Large Marine Ecosystem and the Agala Somali Current Large Marine Ecosystem. The status of South Africa's inshore resources. These are some of the commercially important inshore species. The first one is the Gilbeck. By 1997, South African Gilbeck sporing stock were thought to have collapsed and thought to be deleted. The second one is the snook. This species is a mainstay of the line fisheries in the Western Cape, and catches are subjected to seasonal and interannual variability dependent on the environmental parameters. The third one is the yellowtail. The yellowtail is currently considered as an exploited species. Catches have increased in the last 2 decades. The third one is the choker or the squid. It's a medium-sized fishery. This fishery generates high foreign revenue and creates jobs, especially to the poor people of the Eastern Cape. The status of South Africa's offshore resources. After World War II, improved technology gave rise to the rich commercial offshore fisheries that we see today. Improved engines and refrigerators have allowed the fishing vessels to go further offshore to catch more fish. This then meant that there should be systems that are put in place to regulate and control the fishing activities that happen offshore so that people don't exploit the species. The global fish market. Increasing globalization has led to the increase in trade and fish products. Over 30% of global fish products currently flows into international trade, making it one of the most traded agricultural products. Developing countries contribute about 80% of the world's fisheries products. Although the amount of fish consumed varies significantly by region and by country, the average consumption per person is 17.1 kgs per year. South African seafood exports and imports. Fish trade is governed by complex multilateral and bilateral trade agreements and negotiations at national, regional, and international level that determines the amount of fish imported and exported in the country. The importance of diversification in Southern African seafood industry. Increasing consumer and retail awareness of the sustainability and environmental issues have resulted in creating demand for environmentally friendly and sustainable seafood products. In South Africa, consumers and retailers are increasingly making use of the information provided by the WWF South African Sustainable Seafood Initiative to procure more sustainable seafood options. Social consideration. The links between food security and fisheries. Around the world, fisheries are vital for ensuring food security for billions of people. The fish and fish products constitute the primary source of animal protein in diets of people in both the developed and the developing countries. The fishing industry plays a key role in ensuring food security by providing direct and indirect employment of approximately 200 million of people worldwide. The tracking tool to examine progress towards implementation of an ecosystem approach to fisheries in South Africa is to make sure that external impact of fishery are addressed, such as climate change and other industries. Secondly, economic well-being of fisheries is maintained. Thirdly, make sure that sufficient skills, support, and funding is given for the implementation of the ecosystem approach to fisheries. And lastly, make sure that good scientific data collection procedures exist to support the ecosystem approach to fisheries implementation.